What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Honest Tattooer podcast, brought to you by Tattoo Smart and the New York Tattoo Convention. My name is Jon Mesa. I'm with my co-host, Matt Truiano.
Hey, how you doing?
The homie G Money.
What up, guys?
And our very special guests. We've had these guys on the show before. Ed from Tattoo Armour.
Thanks.
And we have Donal from the Global Tattooer and from Oncology. Welcome back, guys.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having us.
man.
Thanks for coming.
So the reason why we have you guys this week is because we have the New York Tattoo Convention, which both of you guys are working on together.
Yes, we are.
And we have another person that's unfortunately not here with us.
Mr. Roy Keane.
Mr. Roy Queen. Shout
out to Roy.
Roy Keane.
Roy Keane.
Yes.
Shout out
In
to
Ireland.
Roy.
Lives in Ireland, so we'll all raise a glass to Roy.
Roy.
Hey, Roy.
And that usual American phrase, top of the morning to you.
The top of the morning. So a couple of weeks ago, we had a guest, Jesse Smith, and he's putting on the Richmond Tattoo Convention. And he told us that about a month out, he kind of just takes time off because the convention takes up so much time and so much effort to put it all together. How are you guys sleeping?
Sleeping okay. Trying to manage the other 20 hours of the day, is a whirlwind. We make the best out of it.
Yeah.
The three of us work pretty well together, so we can almost seamlessly jump in and out. And the fact that Roy's in Ireland, I wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning and I've already got messages going off. So that's my wake up call. Those two are going back and forth.
Yeah, it's. I mean, what we do is we, initially, Ed came on board this year. We decided to invite Ed, and it was just myself and Roy. Originally, he's come on board, been a great fucking addition. So he has.
What year is this for the?
This is year 3.
Okay.
So it is. As I think I explained the last time we were here, it took us a while to get year 1 going. It actually took us 2.5 years, but then we got that shit called COVID that happened.
Yep.
And we did it in Brooklyn. We moved it into Manhattan last year. That was a fucking nightmare. And now we're back to...
Back to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Cool.
Is it the same location in Brooklyn as it was the first year?
Yes. And then, so as I said, Ed's come on board. He's great with his spreadsheets. Roy does a lot of the media stuff. I guess I'm the liaison between us and the venue and the insurance and the security and... all of that sort of stuff. I like to talk a lot, so I can handle all of that shit. He's good with the spreadsheets. Roy's good with the media. But it's like it's a combined effort, so it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny how we seamlessly kind of just mesh together.
That's awesome.
We've all known each other for a while. Like Roy, I've known for maybe 9 years. Ed and I have known each other for probably
another 7 years.
Yeah. Ed and I worked together on another project, years ago. And then when he said he wanted to get involved, myself and Roy were like, this makes sense.
Sure.
Awesome.
So let me ask you this. I feel like you guys have, traveled a lot. I mean, I know, Ed, you've traveled a lot, going to tattoo conventions, getting tattooed. And how do you feel that tattoo conventions have changed?
Good question. I've done, like Ed, I've done, Europe, Asia, South America. I think, and how long have you been tattooing? 18, 20?
About 18.
Okay. So, so you remember the tattoo conventions in sort of mid 2000s,
Those were my favorites.
Yes. So, you sort of had I guess you had more of a, I don't want to say like a walk-in sort of feeling, but people came to those conventions not having bookings, not having sort of like, with that expectation of like, oh, I'm going to go get tattooed today, but they didn't really know what they were going to do. Like, I mean,
I would say, I would compare it to like, I'm going to go walk to the mall. I don't know what I'm going to buy, but there's enough stores there that I'm going to find something.
I'm going to find something.
Yeah, I have money in my pocket. I'm going to go walk around the mall. I might have some food and blah, blah. And then I'm like, oh, there's a cool store. Let's go see what's in there. And I might get something, And I feel like people went to conventions with like, I don't know what's there, but I have some money in my pocket.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go check something out, and if
But
there's
even-
something, I'll get it.
Let me just go and hang out. Like,
Yeah.
maybe don't
Yes.
even buy anything.
Yeah,
Maybe not
but-
even get tattooed. Just to go. Just
Drink,
to kind of
watch,
see
be
what's going
entertained.
on. Yeah, yeah.
And back
That's not
then it was
happening
like
anymore.
even, let me go look at some of the guys that I've seen and girls that I've seen in the magazines. And because like social media didn't exist in, up until 2010, 2011. So before that it was magazines. Like, I mean, I went to, shops when I was like in the 90s and it was, magazines, So, I mean, people went to sort of like see their, I don't want to call them heroes, but to go see the people who are in the magazines because that's the big thing.
Their favorite artists.
Yeah. Like today, there's still a lot of conventions of walk-ins, but there are a lot of people who pre-book,
Yes.
And back in those days, like I had a chat with somebody who was talking about the original London tattoo convention, Mickey Violetta's, and he wanted people not to book. He loved the idea of that spontaneity of I'm going there and I'm going to get tattooed and hopefully it's by maybe one of 5 artists that I really like. It's changed a little bit.
I feel like that would be the reward of like, imagine if you're going to a concert, right? And you did the line and you got up front and then you wanted to be in the first row, but people already booked that.
Yeah.
And like, it doesn't matter if you showed up like early to like get the first, in line and be in front of the show.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's already
the
booked
VIP
in.
section.
Totally.
Yeah, that's a VIP section. Sorry, you can't get that. And you're like, oh, fuck. So it's like, I remember doing like the Brighton Tattoo Convention and like
Which
rolling
is
up.
really good.
Dude, I would roll up to that. The first time I did it, I rolled up to that convention and there was just a huge line outside before the show opened on like the first day. And I was like, wow, this is crazy, dude. Like these people came to freaking check out the show. And that was like awesome. Same thing with Philly used to be like that. Like before the show opened, there was like a line.
Oh, wrapped around the block.
Wrapped around the
Huge.
block
Yeah.
to get in.
Almost made you like, oh yes, this is gonna be crazy.
It's going to be good.
But it also, look, I'm not an artist. You guys are. I would imagine that plays nicely into how you feel as an artist and you feel like these people are, and I'm not like saying like your egos are massive for that. What I'm saying is like you've worked really hard to get to this point and these people are coming to the show to see you and see your peers and sort of like that's got to be a nice feeling.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It seems
Sure
like a
is.
lot of the draw now is for the artists that are on television. So people are still flocking to them. They still want to take pictures with them. I have a lot of friends that were on shows and they say the same thing all the time. Like no matter what, they get those free booths. They go to people come and they want photos with them, even if they're on season 1 or 2 or 15. They still want to get pictures.
They still want to see the people that they saw on TV.
Yeah.
And that actually
So
plays
it's-
into what you're saying, like what's changed. I mean,
TV
and we
happened.
we talked about that
Yeah.
a little bit the last time we were here. And like it or not, I mean, it's been phenomenal. I'll probably get some comments on that, but it has.
I think,
And how it's affected conventions is kind of hard to see. I mean, you get the fan base now that's coming out, but I don't know how many people actually look to get tattooed by them.
well, like for example, like when we were talking to Gil Monty, he like brought that up. He was like, like I go to a convention, there's a whole row of just like people with their Ink Master as seen on TV on the top corner. Like, what the hell?
hated
is this?
it.
He fucking hated it.
Which means
Fucking hated it. He thought it was so uncool.
He's like, this is so lame.
I'll tell you,
if he saw one of our reels a couple of weeks ago, like obviously I know a lot of the people he knows. We have like 7 people from your season.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming.
Cool.
Which
but we're treating it like it's like a reunion for you guys. It's not about the people coming indoors
Or
saying,
maybe it's-
"Oh, hey, I want to see."
maybe
all
it's
the
not
Ink
for
Master."
John. You haven't asked him. I mean, you're making a presumption. Sorry, John.
Well, no, but
I mean, I'm,
I'm
stoked
sure
to
there's
see
some
of
people.
those guys.
Yeah, I'm
man.
sure there's
stoked
some
to
from that
see 'em,
season that you have not seen.
I haven't seen him. I mean, I haven't seen Freddie since he went.
Yeah.
He came over from the UK just for a day to shoot some like
Oh,
promo stuff.
In the
in
after
Paramount.
interview. Yes.
Yeah, we shot some stuff like that right before the show aired, and that was the last time I saw him. That's
Which is a year ago.
so about a year ago.
I haven't met him yet, but I've heard he's a great guy.
He's a nice guy. He's
Yeah.
a really nice guy.
Yeah.
Really, really funny guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's hilarious. He's like one of those like like his humor is like very dry, but it's like so good. You know, great delivery.
Nice.
So yeah, he's a good dude. Honest Tattooer is brought to you by Tattoo Smart. They offer digital design tools for the professional tattooer, helping you save time and make your clients happy. Make sure to check out some of their best sellers, the Spit Shade set, the Needle set, Advanced 3D body parts, and one of my personal favorites, the Snake Kit. With a vast collection of ready-to-use Procreate flash stamps in a range of styles, including neo-traditional, ornamental, illustrative, Japanese, floral, and more. Listeners can use code HONEST20 at checkout to save 20% on any Tattoo Smart order. Do you think, I think this because I feel like it's something that I've noticed, you know, I think like a lot of tattooers feel like non-tattooers either shouldn't be so much in like the industry, like either running conventions or owning shops or having businesses and stuff like that have to do with tattooing. A lot of tattooers feel like, you know, keep tattooer owned businesses, you know, and stuff like that. Do you feel like sometimes people don't recognize the value of like the people that just love tattooing because they came into it because they started getting tattooed, and they don't recognize the value of that non-tattooers have brought into the industry?
So first of all, you know, for me, it's really important that I hear that from other people, because you can't be a person who's like, no, I'm going to do it my fucking way and I can't. You need to listen. That's the best form of communication. And when I first got in this business, I knew that I was going, like 2011, not that long ago, but still things hadn't quite changed. And I knew I was going to have to work really fucking hard. I come from another industry where you had to really fucking prove yourself. I worked down on Wall Street for 13, 14 years.
Yeah.
And they could fucking see through you. Like The sniff test was real. You're full of shit. Get the fuck out of here.
Get the head out of here.
That was it. You know, so when I got in this industry,
you're like, oh, same test.
Exact same
I've done this before.
Like, oh, same test.
You're full of shit. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah. So, you know, you got to prove yourself. And I guess like Ed, you know, I like to think that I built some solid sort of blocks and foundations. I built a decent sort of studio and one in LA, and I got involved in the visa business. With Roy, we have another convention now in Belfast. Ed's not part of that, but we opened a convention there, which was, you know, for me, that was like going back home.
Yeah.
You know,
I'd like to go there. That sounds like fun.
There's a thought. It actually,
like it'd be cool.
It would
be.
You know, Belfast has changed a lot since I grew up there. Like, you know, I grew up it was pretty fucking shitty.
Yeah.
So it was people getting killed, blown up, and all the rest. Our convention's actually in the most bombed hotel in the world.
Dang.
39 times.
You know what though? Let me tell you something.
39
Sort of
times.
badassery to that.
Yeah, that sounds sick.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's like
I don't know if I should sort of boast about that.
It would be a boastable thing. People
You
would be
should.
Like,
It's
oh,
always
shit. Fuck.
Yeah.
It's gonna be on what hotel?
Badass.
Yeah, but just going back to your original question, or comment or whatever. You know, I think if you're not genuine, at least, 100% genuine. We all strive for that. We fall short. We do fall short, but I really believe that you can be found out really fucking quickly.
Yeah.
You know, for myself and Ed, we're business people. You know, every industry, you know, whether you're liking it to like acting, music, TV, whatever it is, there are the stars, and you're the stars. There you are. But then around that, you've got your, basically your mechanism to make the whole thing work. And so, you know, sometimes a lot of times that's people like myself and Ed who, you know, sort of bring it together. And you know, conventions are, I don't want to say, like, we fucking enjoy them. They're really good fun. but the amount of moving parts and minutia,
It looks like a lot.
you know,
Hey, look, every
It's-
time.
once you get into a rhythm, though, it's like you're doing it every day. You
Yeah.
know, it's like when you go to work. Like I freak out trying to if I had to set up a stage. Okay,
you're going to see Ed on October 18th when he's actually boots on the ground doing
you're
the
in the
first
groove.
one.
Yeah.
oh yeah, I'll
So,
thrive there.
I'll ask you this. So, what should attendees expect out of your tattoo convention?
Well, for starters, I came into this with the mindset that I wanted this to be a family type event, but not family for the people coming to the show. I wanted this to be family of artists. I want everybody to be comfortable. I wanted everybody to feel like they wanted to go there. They wanted to meet the people at the show, and they wanted to have a good time as artists. I didn't want it to be go to like every other convention, going to the show, putting your head down, working, and not having a chance to talk. That's easier said than done, because
Yeah.
most people that's inevitable if you're working all weekend long. You know, so putting together the pre-party, the after party sponsored by Allegory, and trying to just do different events at the show to make it worth it for the artists coming there as well as the people coming through the door. So what we've done is we're doing a art fusion on the stage. So on Sunday we're going to have 5 setups. It's a throwback to Paul Booth, Philip Liu when they used to do this at all the shows. They do it at Hell City.
Yeah.
That's why I'm wearing my Hell City shirt. Is
Representing Derb.
representing
Shout out to Derb.
Derb's a great guy, and
Derb.
I've learned a lot from him, and I'm not trying to take any thunder from him at all, trying to run a convention. He's taught me a lot, and he supports me and my business as well. So yeah, so I'm an honorable guy. If you know anything about me,
Yes,
I'm
he is.
gonna give you what you deserve, and I want all the artists to feel that way at the show.
Yeah, I think we've got to, when I first started it, I've been going to London and Barcelona for many years, and I wanted to have an overseas flavor, which we achieve each year. We have lots of representation from South America, from the USA, obviously, from Europe, from Asia, from Australia. So you also sort of have to as well, like, look at who's, we've tried to sort of like, I guess, invite people who already know each other. And so that, when you walk in the room, there's like it's, John.
Yeah.
So there's that to it. And
You go to some of those big shows, they might be there, they might be across the room, and you don't see them all weekend long, like in a Philly, like, oh yeah, I knew you were here. I didn't know what booth you were at. I didn't see you the whole weekend.
Because there's like 800 of you.
Yeah.
Just kind of
There's
insane.
a lot of, we still have over 300 artists coming.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of them, we tried to put similar styles into certain areas. So there's like the dark artists are mostly together. We're also doing a live painting project that's being run by Robbie Lados and Michael Perry.
Cool.
They're going to be doing that all weekend long. So you guys, artists, are welcome to come.
You guys
in.
are going to be there as well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you just told us that
Even if you put a line
gonna-
on the painting.
you're going to do the podcast. So
Yes, guys. So we're going to be doing a podcast episode live from the convention. Well, not live, but it'll be
Yeah.
live.
One thing that we said that we were going to do in Orlando, which we never got a chance to, was to do live critiques.
Yes.
So maybe we could do that this time around.
Yeah.
So if you're listening, you're going to be at the New York City Convention, you want your portfolio critiqued by us on the spot, so we can kind of ruin
You do
everything
a
that
live
you know.
tattoo critique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody did that to John.
Somebody did that to me, dude, and I'll be as brutal as I'll ever.
Oh.
I'm just gonna.
If you want three people.
It was the tattoo had just been done, and the guy came up to me like, "Hey, can you critique that tattoo?" And I'm like, looking at the girl's face, and I look at the guy like, "Sure, my guy, let's run that."
Correct.
because that's a live ink master.
I'm like, dude, you want to live? It's the real
Yeah,
deal,
right.
dude. You get to live it.
Absolutely.
It's like it's fine.
I mean,
Yeah, that'd be cool if you can work that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd love to do that for you guys. So if you've been, if you're in New York City or you're going to come out to the convention and you want to get your portfolio critiqued by us, then definitely come by.
Absolutely.
Go for it.
Yeah,
Go for
that'd
it.
be awesome.
After I got the chance to sit down with Matt and John on the Honest Tattooer podcast, the Force of Focus got amazing feedback when it comes to the Hello to Healed process, networking strategies, and most of all, creating your own personal brand and culture. So I want to give you the opportunity to take 15% off by coming to join the Force of Focus arena. Now, this is a community of high-achieving tattoo artists who are all here for one reason: to be around like-minded individuals who all want to grow not only in our personal lives, but within our businesses. We're going to walk with you side by side to build out every system you could ever imagine to not only ensure the fact you're on the right path, but how to be able to see your dream life and then achieve it. Now, I have a laundry list of artists who have been able to achieve their dreams, and if you're ready to do the same, click the link below and let's get a conversation going.
And look, we've got some other, we've got a couple of live bands playing. We have this year. This was
I worked with a local Brooklyn company to bring live burlesque. So it's like New York style. We're also came up with this crazy idea to do a drag show at the event. So on Saturday afternoon, we're gonna have drag performers coming in and
Oh shit!
do a like a brunch right there at the show.
So a little bit of everything
Yeah.
at the New York City. That is a very New York thing to do.
Yep.
It's a
I said,
very
what,
New York
what
thing
can
to
we
do.
I want
Kids, hide your
like
wife.
stomp and
Hide your kids, hide your
It's
wife.
going to be a drag brunch.
there's no food,
There's no-
but we will have food trucks.
We do have our food trucks. There's going to
Yeah.
there's like 3 food trucks outside and a coffee truck. And
Oh, that's
I like that idea.
that is great.
so that was born out of, and you know exactly where that was born out of, Barcelona.
Yes, that dude.
I
So
am all for food.
I did the
trucks.
Barcelona convention maybe like 4 or 5 years in a row, and it was one of my favorite conventions to do. Not because of just the tattooing, but the environment that it created, and it was so much fun. And I got to meet so many people, and so well organized. So if you're trying to go after that, man, hell yeah, dude.
Look, obviously
That's
ours is
rad.
smaller scale, but when I saw that, I'm like, that's
So I
pretty-
think
pretty
smaller
cool.
scale is better.
Yeah, me
I
too,
think
too.
I think all conventions have gotten too big.
Yeah.
I think like if you have a successful convention, keep it small, keep it very exclusive, because that's how the most famous conventions in the world got that way. Like when you think about the London convention, when you think about Hell City,
Yeah.
like they never kept expanding and going to
Paris.
bigger and bigger places.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we're going to keep it. The more people want to come in, the better it's going to be. And like
Right.
every now and then you're going to have, an artist drop off, and now we got like an open booth and people are dying to get that booth.
That's what New York City was like. The original New York City.
original.
Yeah, dude.
Roselands.
Right.
Yeah.
that was so small, dude.
Yeah, dude.
But everybody wanted to work that show.
And you had to wait for someone to either die or just be like, I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not doing it this year, dude. And like that made it great. I think that's awesome, And I think the moment where it started shifting to the like, oh, let's just keep growing it bigger and bigger. I'm like, dude, this doesn't need to be like a Fortune 500 company that every year needs to show bigger fucking shit. No, dude, just keep it.
It becomes about the
nicer.
money at that point.
Yes.
How many more can you bring in? And
It gets watered
When
down.
a convention, when one single convention is in multiple different like ballrooms of the hotel,
Yeah.
it's immediate turn off.
Immediate turn off.
If you get lost looking for your booth, like that sucks.
yeah, it's
Which
unfortunate. There's some of my
some of them
shows-
are like that. I don't know. Did you go to the original Milano,
The original, I
which was
did
in
it.
the hotel?
I didn't do it in the hotel.
I think it's like 10 years ago, something.
Well,
like
Philly
that.
used to be in a
that.
hotel.
We actually Belfast
Philly
is
was
in,
in a hotel,
is in
yeah.
the hotel, and it's over 2 floors, and the middle floors were all the entertainment. Like I must admit, when we decided we were going to go forward with Belfast, and Roy would say this if he was here. My concern was how do we integrate everything. I got to say, I think we did a really good job. Nobody felt, even though there was 2 separate floors with a mezzanine floor in the middle where everything, the awards were there, the entertainment was there, the illusionist was there was market stalls there. It sort of came together, so it did. But I know I've been to other conventions which are in hotels and higgledy-piggledy. Maybe we got lucky there. Our venue in Brooklyn is a
Nice
big open space.
That's great.
There's like a decking out back, which sort of looks over the East River.
There's a cool mezzanine too.
There's a mezzanine
We have artists
part.
up there, but overlooks the show, so it's actually pretty neat.
That's cool. That's
It's
neat.
it's a cool venue. Hopefully we get some nice weather where you're able to be outside where the food trucks are.
Yeah.
And just, it's really, it's about trying to, first and foremost, you've got artists who have committed to their booths, who've committed to travel, who've committed to hotel rooms, who've, it's an expense, and that's the first thing I think of. Okay, so we're putting on something that we want it to be memorable.
Yeah.
We want them to enjoy themselves and to feel, like we've created, like a community where they feel comfortable.
And I think that's one of the biggest points of value in tattoo conventions, in creating that community and that vibe within the industry. And I think after the world shut down back in 2020, and it was crazy because when we had no idols in Bowery, we would have people come by from all over the world all the time on a regular basis. And then after that went down, it was a very long time before those guys started traveling again and going around again. I personally, after that, I was like, I'm not going anywhere. I spent years without going to any shows, any conventions. Just like in the past maybe 2 years, we've done just a couple, and I feel like we're starting to get back into that kind of swing of things.
Can I ask you guys about the mezzanine level with the artists on the upper level? My thought goes immediately to Asbury Park when it was on the boardwalk in the, I don't know if you ever did this convention.
Yeah.
So they had the main ballroom, and then they had just a level that kind of wrapped around. And there were artists upstairs. And I've never been up there as being an artist, but I know people complaining that there wasn't enough traffic going up there for those artists.
They felt disconnected.
Yeah.
They felt very disconnected. So do you guys have any kind of plan to direct people up there and be like, hey, there's more stuff upstairs, check it out?
Very much so. Well, first of all, there's going to be signage, but signage isn't enough. But we have actually, so Ed came up with this great idea. The first couple of conventions, we had a couple of volunteers, and then Ed's like, why don't we advertise, And I'm like, okay, let's give it a go. So he stuck up, an ad on our story, and we got 15 people who and I called every one of them yesterday. One was in the UK, and I'm like, where are you? And she's like, if you're listening, you're wonderful to talk to. She's like, yeah, I thought we'd just come over, and I'm like, that might be a little bit expensive. But, and the first thing you said to him is you do know this is a volunteer thing. We want, we're going to look after them with some lunch and sort of stuff like that. But they all want to be there. So we've got a bunch of people who are going to be literally, because there's 2 staircases either side of where the stage is. So they'll be very definitely, and myself and Roy and Ed will be
So something,
more fun
as we were talking about, is there's a lot of artists traveling. So there's a lot of international artists coming. It's more of an international convention. But there's also local shops. A lot of shops from Brooklyn, Lower East Side,
that's great.
Long Island. And
this year we made a real concerted effort to make sure that we were inclusive.
So
of that.
what I tried to do was, I figured they're going to have a lot of clientele that's in the area that are going to want to come showcase, because our awards, our contests are only for artists at the show. So not anybody can just come and go and try to win these awards. And if you've seen the awards that were done by El Rana that we've posted, they're amazing.
Those guys are
decorative art
awesome
pieces.
stuff,
So artists want to win these awards.
Yeah, they're really cool.
But we held those awards for just artists at the show. So the mezzanine level is a lot of these local artists and shops that are going to have the draw. So, a lot of the artists on the floor are already going to be booked up. They're international, so they're not really looking for walk-ups. So if we put walk-ups, I figured having those people that are going to be driven up there will actually help.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah.
This is gonna sound crazy, but I think, I think that they should add the tattoo machine sound on the speakers and just play it real low. At the conventions nowadays, because man, these quiet conventions,
it annoys you, doesn't it?
Kind of hurts.
It does.
It really does hurt. It really brings the level of energy down, and
that
So let me tell you a quick story on that.
even
you.
think about it like this, right? Even on Ink Master, when people use rotaries, they put that coil sound in
Yes.
the background for a reason.
Yes.
For a reason.
Because you can't
Never
have
really
silence.
thought about that.
Because that silence sucks.
Just so our listeners know, that is what G Money constantly complains about. Every time I go to a convention, the last convention we were at in Orlando,
Bro.
I had to hunt down the one
coil.
guy using coil machines.
And he's not exaggerating. One
Because
guy.
I heard
There's like
because,
one guy.
Because
One guy.
I got up and I was like,
What is that sound?
the F is wrong with this convention? Because you know what? Everybody at the booths, though, everybody was working.
Was there no traditional?
But you
artist
wouldn't
there?
you wouldn't hear. Even the traditional artists are using the pens now. So I hear this one
Faint in the background.
Faint sound
and I'm
back
like,
there.
can it be?
Is it a Dan
So,
Cookman?
no, exactly. So I get up and I go on the hunt, like Toucan Sam, and I finally found the guy, and I interrupted him working, and I was like, "Hey, man," I was like, "You're fucking carrying the entire team in here, just so you know, okay?"
Can you turn it up to 11?
Yeah, dude.
And he just looked up at me and he gave me like the
thumb, like, yeah.
And I was like, I was like, crank it up.
Should have left the microphone in the booth just so I can hear it.
So I was gonna say that tattoo conventions right now. I mean, my complaint, but I'm going.
We recently had
it's lame.
We recently had a guest artist in the studio from, I believe, from Spain, and he took out his coil and he's like, "Is it okay?
Is this
Like,
okay?
Yes."
Am I?
I'm like,
disturb
dude,
people?
plug it in
power
now.
station?
Turn it fucking on.
So check this out.
Am
we
I
found
gonna hurt
out
anyone's sensitive ears? If
But
I
he
turn around this
asked.
machine?
He's like, "It's silent in here." I'm like, "Crank it up,
So
babe."
we found out through Matt Buck. He told us that there's this tattoo shop in Brooklyn where any noise making machines are actually banned.
They're not allowed.
They're not allowed.
Jeez.
So,
So
like,
my first
Gabe, you're not
reaction
allowed
is,
there.
"Get the fuck out of here."
isn't that insane?
Although that's where we are.
That's where we are. But that's
Didn't
that's
Gil
crazy.
just say he's like
Discuss.
he prefers rotaries?
Yeah.
He prefers rotaries. I prefer rotaries too, like I prefer them. But you shouldn't ban it.
Yeah.
You shouldn't ban it. Like I love when fucking Gabe is just over there, just fucking even just all right, cool,
And
it's
it's
fine.
banned.
In that shop, yeah, you can't even use a Dan Kubin because it still makes noise. And that's technically a rotary. They just don't want any noise.
Kind of sissies are working in this shop.
Some sissies. I don't know. I don't know. The Tat Gots are
Teach
turning
their
in their grave. Dude,
I could just see the rainbow colored hair.
I think that's got to be that's an outlier. Michelle. Like that.
But you know what though?
You know
this is what happens with things like that.
Yes.
It may be an outlier, but
they get
before you know it,
legs.
it becomes normal, and then it becomes like.
Are we going to talk fine line?
What?
But it's
No.
every line.
We could talk about all the lines. Oh man,
But that's a little bit disturbing.
it is. It is.
Hey, there's so many shops nowadays. Like, what are they gonna do? Someone's gonna do something that's weird.
Yeah, like I swear, you know what? I'm gonna capitalize on all this crap. And I'm just gonna completely sell out, and I'm gonna open up the shop that the tattoo artist has to sign the consent form before tattooing the client to make sure everything's okay. You know what I mean? Like every box is gonna be checked. I will consider every feeling, every fantasy. As long as you're comfortable in my space, that's gonna be the shop.
So back in the day,
Plants everywhere, no artwork anywhere, no loud machines. No,
right.
I'm just kidding.
back in the day, tattoo
Rob?
conventions brought in a lot of people because tattooing still had its like mysterious mystique
Yeah.
over it. You
Yeah.
know,
Mm-hmm.
how do you see the role of tattoo conventions changing now? Because I feel like now, the cat's out of the bag, man. You can watch that shit on Instagram, TikTok, TV,
Can't go
YouTube,
backwards. Anymore.
wherever. So what do we have?
So there's no mistake.
There's no mystique.
It's gone.
Yeah.
So that being said, which sort of takes us back to what our ethos of like creating a community of people who know and respect each other, who, my idea was that the guy or the girl tattooing next to you, if you didn't know them, but you'd look at their work and go,
I'd like to know them.
yeah, that
Like their work's nice.
that looks good.
Yeah.
You know, and you go to sort of some conventions where that's maybe not the case. So
Yeah.
we really have strived to sort of keep that standard,
That's great.
high. As regards like, okay, the mystique's gone, as I said, sort of community, but also, look, I firmly believe it's how I run any business I have. I'm that first line. If it needs to be told to me, I need to be standing right there, and
Yeah.
I need to hear the criticism, and I need to take it on board and say, what will I do differently next year? Super, super important. There's sometimes where, my first reaction is, oh, fuck me. But, that's a natural reaction, but as an organizer, as a shop owner, as a product owner, you gotta listen. You don't learn from success.
Something that I would love to see in a tattoo convention.
So true.
And if you do this, I expect my royalties, okay? I would love to see a little bit of history lessons in a tattoo convention. Like a little area where you get a little bit of history about tattooing, where you get to see like the evolution of tattoo machines. So people could actually, like people that visit could see the evolution
That's
of
a
the
damn
tattoo
fine
machine, how
idea.
it's changed
Yeah.
over time,
And all the different, like even from primitive tools to even current
Yes,
primitive tools that are
absolutely.
being used in
Pictures
Maybe
from
next year you can curate it.
So
That's
a
pretty
couple of
cool.
things in that. So Yalzi runs
Yeah.
his Puerto Rico tattoo convention, and last year, it's in December, he had the Women of Tattooing.
Cool.
And he, on the stage, I think there were about 9 or 10 women of tattooing, and we're talking women from the 70s and the 80s, and they had a whole panel discussion. I find it fucking awesome.
That's awesome.
And I think, look, Yalzi, he's an historian.
Yeah.
He's
Loves tattooing.
loves tattooing.
Yeah,
I don't know,
he's
he's like 130 artists have tattooed
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Like he calls it the double body suit.
Yeah.
So, from my point of look, I like the history of tattooing. I guess when I got in the industry, was never a book person, was never a shitty fucking student. I learned by visual stuff, and when I like something, I'm all in, and we talked a little bit about music before this, that that's my fucking love, but tattooing is like right there with it. So that was another thing that when I got in the industry, I'm like, I bought books. I'm looking over there at your book. Like, I have lots of books at home.
Yeah.
I just consumed them. I did. Because to me, it's a bit like I got to know the industry to at least, not only to appreciate it, but to make you as a tattoo artist feel comfortable with me. This is not another...
Yeah, you should know more about it.
leech coming in to suck the money out of the industry. Maybe I'm being a little bit too...
Well, I think that's why something like that would be so valuable, because even for, you get somebody that's maybe, 18 years old, 19 years old. All they really know about tattooing is maybe what they've seen on TV and on social media.
Yeah.
They have no idea about more of the long history of tattooing. And I feel like the more that you know the history of something, the more you value it, and the more you see, it's like, oh wow, that's how we got here. And I think that adding that to a convention, adding almost like when you go to a museum and they put you in that little walkthrough to learn a little bit about how you got to where you're going into,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
would be
hopefully
something super rad.
it is going to happen next year. So
That's a great idea.
I work a lot with, do you follow the kid, I shouldn't say it. Do you follow Dakota from Inked Abroad?
Yes.
Okay. So Dakota and I, I've gotten to know him over the last while. And he's another guy, I'll tell you, he got into this industry and he was unsure of how
it's going to be received.
And I got to say, he's been received really, really well. So he and I work on some other stuff, and he's now building, he's putting together under the Inked Abroad brand, he's a museum and an historical sort of pictorial. He's doing a lot of work. He's doing the documentaries. So He's with Carrie Barber this weekend at her shop.
Cool.
We all know about Carrie and the oldest tattoo shop in that location in the United States. And I remember when I first met Dakota, and I sort of said to him, I said, look, you're doing really, really well at everything. Like, you have a real way of being. Like, he's got a great presentation, and he knows his stuff, you know. I said, like, just make sure you include the older tattooers, the guys and girls who have like come before, and he's really dove into it like full steam. So he's actually,
It's great.
He's not going to be at this one. He's actually going to be down in Richmond at Jesse's, but next year he's actually going to come to Belfast, and next year he'll be at ours. And now that you've all said it, I'm going to try and make that as, you know, I'm not too sure how far down the line he'll be with his whole historical and sort of museum thing, but yeah, that's something that for me, that would be super good, because that I'd be like, not that I'm a nerd, but that sort of shit, like, yeah, I love history.
Can even team up with Michelle. I'm sure she would be into that also.
She would be into
Oh
it
my
too. You
goodness,
know, if
yeah.
you haven't been to the Daredevil Tattoo
Michelle from
Museum,
Daredevil.
you need to go to the Daredevil
Yeah.
Tattoo Museum. It's actually incredible. And if you guys approach them, like, hey, we want you to curate a little exhibition here. I mean, I'm saying, you know,
Did you have
would be
Michelle
pretty-
on the?
Yes,
We did.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
we
did.
Yes.
you know, it's
It was
really
great.
important for us to, you know, to show a little bit of
So we got to
we're
reach out to
tattooing.
Michelle, if you're watching,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'll
Yeah.
be calling
Send
in.
us a DM.
It's important to see where tattooing is, or where tattooing came from. And if you're a tattooer and you're in that point in your career where you're just, you know, the furthest that you look back, it's like the guys that did it in the early 2000s, man, you really got to look back,
Yeah.
because the guys, that's when, man, the guys that did it when tattooing was like in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, man, they got the cool end of fucking tattooing, dude.
Yeah.
That's when
Yeah.
tattooing was the fucking coolest.
And
Dude.
they weren't pretending.
God damn, that
They
was
weren't
cool.
pretending.
Those guys
they
were
just
cool.
were cool. Yeah.
Like,
They weren't pretending. Like everyone
They were at the cutting edge of what
Yeah.
was going on, and you,
Yeah.
like, you know, I mean, Lal Tuttles and the, you know, Freddie
Man.
Freddy, and
yeah.
you know,
They were cool just by being cool. I feel like now
You gotta- you gotta
100%.
try so hard to be cool,
Yeah,
dude.
you gotta try, and you gotta like,
Oh, man.
you go into it to be cool.
To be
They
cool.
got up in the morning and pulled on their jeans, and they were cool.
They were already cool, dude.
Or their
they woke up
skirts
that
or
way.
whatever. Yeah, yeah. You know, which, look, I enjoy that sort of stuff. I know we're in a world where, you know, it's fast information. A lot of that information is disposable.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's a bit like, you can liken it to any art movement, like Broadway, Hollywood, music, TV. You know, it's all about instantaneous fame.
Yeah.
Now, which we've encouraged in our industry. So we have, you know, through TV, but I still believe that TV has been a great medium for.
Like, I think everything.
Let's discuss.
We don't have enough.
I'm not gonna open up that kind of.
We don't have
that
enough
kind of time.
Okay.
So we're gonna go straight to this. I'm not gonna ask you guys this because we're almost towards the end of the podcast. If you could change one thing about the way that the tattoo industry operates right now, what would it be?
Why are you looking at me?
Because you're
I gotta think about
you're
that.
gonna go.
That's a tough one. It's funny you ask artists all of this stuff all the time.
Yeah, as those deep questions, they're like, God damn it.
Because there might be something you see that we don't see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Being
Yeah.
from, being from like a passionate, involved, but collector standpoint as well. You know, you've seen kind of like a different viewpoint of tattooing.
I'll kick it off.
Yeah.
We all know that the last 15 months have been different in our industry. The whole host of reasons why that's occurred. You know, especially in places like New York, LA, Chicago, Miami, the big urban sort of communities. You know, I believe that we are in a recession. I believe we've been in a recession for 15 months. So luxury goods are way down the list, and we're a luxury good item. You don't need a tattoo. You may want a tattoo. And I come from a sales background. That's what I've done all my fucking life. You know, I like to think that that's what I'm good at. And at the end of the day, the tattoo industry is artistic, but it is surrounded with sales.
It's driven by sales. I hate when tattoo artists don't want to admit that. Like, no, I'm just an artist. I'm like, you're selling art.
And I any artist that I talk to, you know, first and foremost, you are your brand. You are your brand. You are your brand.
You're both saying things that we've said before, and people in the comment section are like so triggered by it.
Oh, they get so they get so mad.
But that's okay though. That's good. You need that, and you need to listen to what they're saying, because maybe in some of the things that they say, there's something that you can take on board and go, okay. That's why I said in the beginning that
yes, and then also sometimes they're just wrong.
of course they are.
Yeah,
They're
Of
just
course they
wrong.
are, but you can pick through. But that's okay.
Flat out.
You know, I the conversation I would have with any artist today would be, okay, it's hard. So it is. And it's hard because, all right, this is where we're going to get the comments, because you're looking into a device and you're hoping that device is going to give you your customers. So I would say to any tattoo artist, pull up your emails from the last year, because they're your clients. You've booked those, not all of them, but you've booked those people.
You already sold that.
You're going back to the well that's given you something before. Okay? You know, people say to me, should I drop my price? Should I? And I, you know, I mean, discount, drop. I'm very leery of using words like that. Mm-hmm. You're going to go back to the customer you know, and you're going to engage with them, and you're going to say, look, I have a bunch of projects that I'd love to do. Can we discuss? And that's when you talk to them about maybe, you know, maybe you can, because they're a returning customer, maybe they choose to do a sleeve. And that's when you can say, hey, if you commit to me for 5 sessions, this is the number that we can do it for. You also need to engage in your shop.
My light.
His light.
Maybe you just want to disconnect the.
Yeah, you can keep going.
Yeah,
okay, sorry. You know, I come from a world of you need to engage with your client, potential client. So when somebody walks in the shop, don't just sit there. Get up, go talk to them.
That drives me
All
fucking nuts.
You know, that may not be
I
your
hate
client,
that.
but you know, I'm a big believer in, you know, if you don't do that, the next person will. So you've lost that. That's opportunity.
Man, so
I think people get tattooed by people that they feel comfortable with.
Yes.
So let's say I'm up to get a tattoo. I'm like, you know, when you're working at a shop where there's an up system, I'm up. Person walks in, but I don't talk to them because I'm uncomfortable with talking to strange people. But Gabe's there and he's like, "What's up, man?" And just strikes up a conversation.
I'm not even up, but
Yeah.
I'm just making them feel welcome.
You're just making them feel welcome. Who do you think that person is want to get tattooed by?
Right.
Totally.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, you got to get out of your shell. And I think that that's a part where a lot of tattooers that get into the tattooing world because they just want to do art and they think that people are just human canvases, it's used in Ink Master. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, dude. These are people, dude, and they want to get tattooed by people that they like.
So walking around the convention, not only was it super quiet because everyone was using rotaries, but no one was fucking talking.
No.
And I was walking around with my wife and my kids, and Nicole was like, why does everybody have headphones on right now? She was looking. She was like, not even just the people getting tattooed, but the artists also. Everyone had headphones on, quietly with their heads down, and not a single person was talking to them.
Lame.
I have a firm belief
Lame,
in
dude.
what that is. And I'm a lot older than you fucking guys, okay? I really believe that this generation has lost the art of communication and conversation.
Yeah,
absolutely.
100%, dude.
Absolutely.
Maybe lost is too strong,
No.
but I used it, so we'll keep it
Yeah.
in.
Lost, I like it.
Yeah.
Because you know what, dude?
I walk around and I'm like, everyone is such
like
a
that.
timid,
And I don't
weirdo.
mind if
Yeah.
I don't mind an art. So we recently had an artist in the studio, big name, great guy, and he's a great conversationalist. And you know, talking with his customer and going through the whole, you know, what was going to be tattooed that day, why he chose it, making some changes, all of those things. Like really engaged with his client. It was like nice to watch. He got set up, he made them feel comfortable. And then he said to me, look, for the first hour and a half, if you don't mind, I'd like to put my headphones on because I really want to just like get focused on the initial part of what I'm doing, get started. And after about an hour and a half, he took them off. And I thought to myself,
I've heard that before. I've heard people.
that's engaging with your customer. It's telling them what's going to happen, setting the expectation. You're doing it. And when you think about it, you're saying to them, I'm going to better serve you in this piece if I can have that hour and a half of total concentration, and it's going to be good. And the customers were like,
Sure,
absolutely.
yeah, absolutely.
But I get it. You know, there's like, you know, disengagement from the moment the person walks in. You come up, you show them it doesn't happen in my studio. The artists are like pretty cool people and they do engage. But, you know, I've seen people where they're, you know, it's like, okay, let's put the stencil on. And even at that point, like, you know, the headphones are like this, you know, sort of like
half on, half off.
That annoys me to death.
Yeah. I can't do
Dude,
it.
that
I can't
annoys me
stand it.
so much.
I wish I had like EMP machine. Zap every.
Dude, that
Bluetooth.
annoys me so much.
Yeah.
So that's my take on. But I come from a very sort of like old place of like, I mean, to me, communication is everything, and if your customer wants to talk to you, and sometimes it's like, you know, oh God, I don't, you know, okay, I'm not really into listening.
I mean, trust me.
They're the most important person
Yeah.
in the room.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
In
why
the room.
I was just telling you a story before we started. This is like I had this client. He was like hitting on me the whole fucking time, and I was like,
You're a good looking dude, though.
I'm still gonna talk to you, man. I'm still gonna talk to you, you know, and I'm gonna like,
Yeah.
whatever, dude.
Because he's paying your rent check or your mortgage
He's
or
gonna
your
pay
car
me.
payment,
He's
or
gonna pay me lots of money, you
and he's
know?
going to
And
tip you.
And he was in no way like so disrespectful or any kind of way where I was gonna be like, this session is over, you know. But it was like, at the end of the day, when someone, you have to gauge every client, you know. Sometimes you
course
get
you do.
people that are willing to like push buttons, and you got to understand. Usually, those people are willing for you to push back, and they like that energy. You know, like they're cool with that. They're
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, like this person that like I'm gonna push them. They're gonna push my buttons back, and it's gonna create that friction, and then that's
Yeah.
fine. That tension is good, and I feel like if it's too passive, boring.
Yeah.
I was getting tattooed by somebody with headphones on. It was the first time someone had ever tattooed me with headphones. Oh, I was built relationships with the artists because of the tattoo process. And after like the second break, I turned around to him. I'm like, you know, you're the first guy that's ever tattooed me with headphones on. I'm like, it's kind of strange. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. So he actually took the headphones off and tried to
Engage.
Engage.
Was that
So-
more or less awkward after that, though?
No, we got
Ed
into
never gets awkward.
it got into a rhythm. You know, I think eventually it got so late and I was in so much pain I wasn't talking anymore. He
Yeah.
actually put his headphones on, but I didn't care at that point. It was like, all right, just get through this.
Yeah.
It's one of those questions that's asked all the time.
Man, so I want to mention something. This is not completely off topic, but like I mentioned something on the last episode where I talked about artists, you know, sitting down for those 3, you know, day pieces and having their headphones on and completely disconnecting from the person. And this artist mentioned in the comments on the podcast that like, oh, you know, like I'm that guy. You
Yeah.
know, like I have my headphones on and I do that. But, you know, like for my client, we actually got an Airbnb together. We got to hang out, spend time together, like outside of the convention when we were in work time. And it's still a way that we can like bond and connect, you know, when we're not exactly in the tattoo moment of it. And I was like, oh, that's a great way to fucking
That's
do
cool.
it. You know, like that's actually really cool.
Yeah.
Because I think like when you bring a client, you're going to spend 3 days with them. They're probably going to pay you a lot of money because they're getting tattooed by you 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
But if the whole time you're tattooing them, you're just like headphones on and just completely disconnected from them. You
So
know?
transactional at that point.
So transactional.
On the flip side, if he wasn't wearing his headphones, then you still have to spend 3 days with them. I mean, it's hard to spend 3 days with anybody.
With anybody, yeah.
So yeah,
I think
that's
you
too much
ultimately
fun.
have to find a happy medium.
Yeah.
It probably for me, I don't know. I don't think I've ever been tattooed by anybody who's worn.
Headphones the whole time.
Yeah. But not. I'm not going to say it's disrespectful or anything. Like respect's one of those awful fucking words.
Yeah, I don't
you
think
know?
this is respectful.
I think you know, and maybe it's easier for me and Ed because we know the tattoo artists that we'd sort of now like to get tattooed by. So you sort of know their MO when they sort of work. But yeah, I think maybe the younger generation just maybe has to have maybe take a look at that, you know, as to how can I improve or how can I make it? And I go back to you know, you have to make it an experience for that person in your chair who's giving you decent wage.
I think a lot of artists make the mistake that, you know, they work a lot on just one aspect of their career, what builds their career, you know? It's like if in your convention you only thought about, what I'm going to do everything for the artist. So like, well, you got to think about the people that are coming to the show too. Yeah. So no experience should be like that one dimensional. No. So like in your tattoo career, yes, it's very important that you draw every day. It's important that you do all of these things, but you also have to think about how do you market yourself? How do you treat your clients? How do you get them to come back? Yeah. Like there's so many more aspects to this business because it's a business, guys. It's an art business, but it's still a business. And how do you get better at those things? There's artists that I've known, you know, that have been tattooing for 10 years, you know, they've never read one book on finance. They've never read one book on how to manage themselves financially. And you're a self-managed, if you, especially the guys that fight to be independent contractors, they're like, no, I want to work and make all the money for myself, but they have no idea how to manage a dollar that they've made.
Quick story, John. So you know, I like to sort of set up businesses.
Please bring it. Yeah.
About 12 years ago, I had this idea and I spent about 4 months writing the business model, the business plan, because I noticed that artists were very lax on sort of investments and 401ks and Roth IRAs and health insurance and all of those things. I was like, this industry needs this. And I was so fucking convinced that, and I had a friend who was an insurance agent, and I sort of was going to bring the pieces to it. I got fucking laughed out of there.
Get out, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Had a conversation.
Wait, by the artists?
Yeah.
Yes, bro. I had a conversation with an artist not too long ago, and I spoke to a shop owner, and he said that he offers health insurance, that he offers, you know, a 401k matching and all of these things that sound fucking great, right? And I said, but it's 50-50 on everything. On the split. Dude was like, oh, I don't know about that. That sounds crazy.
I can't give up 50%.
I can't give up 50% of my money.
And I'm going to guess that some of the artists in that shop probably maybe owned their own apartment, had a
I don't know the details of that.
They work the system.
But I tell you that probably when those guys retire, they're going to feel a lot better.
Oh, of course.
Than the guys that don't. Because if you're not good about doing that for yourself, you know, about being diligent, about doing all of these little things for yourself, you're going to pay for it later. So that's the magic of that. Either you learn to pay for it now and you have somebody else manage it for you. And it's not going to be free, dude. Like, you know, it's not going to be free. No. So I know that thinking they're like, oh, I'm going to make, there's no point in this business. Are you going to make 100%?
No, never.
Never. No way, That's never going to happen.
Not even for a tattoo shop
owner. No, you're never making
rent,
100%.
Insurance.
The tax man.
Yeah. You know, even if you're just fucking around in your basement, like you still have to buy your supplies.
It's never 100%.
Yeah, of course, there's expenses.
Yeah.
So when you think about it, right, and then you're like, all right, you can make 30%, right? And then you're like, oh, that sounds great. You know, and then you're like, yeah, but you're not going to get any of these other things. But it's like, guess what? But for that extra 20%, you'll be able to get this and this and this and that. They're like, oh, I don't know. It sounds like I'm working for somebody now. And I'm
working for the man.
I sound like I'm working for the man. And I don't like it, you know? And
man,
it's just like,
I don't get hurt. And I don't get sick.
Dude, you know, like it's even like when we were talking to Jesse and he said that when he went from having everybody independent contractor to employee, that people had a pushback on it.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
You know? And he's like, dude, I'm trying to get you paid time off.
Yeah. You want to know why? Because most tattooers don't want to be employees.
They don't.
almost. I'm gonna say
That is
zero tattooers want to be employees.
That is true.
Yes.
They don't want the title of employee. They don't even want nothing.
They don't
Because
like
there's rules that come
There's
along
rules
being
with that.
employee.
Because there's rules.
Yeah.
rules with that.
I do believe,
And
though,
there's a
with
ladder.
this newer generation of tattoo artists, I'm pretty sure there's going to be studios that are going to come along and the artist will be an employee.
It's already happening.
I know it is.
It's already happening for
Yes.
sure. You know?
But it's going to become, I don't want to say the norm, but yeah, you're going to be like, okay, year one where you're maybe just coming out of your apprenticeship, that let's just put numbers on it for shits and giggles. Like you're going to be earning $50,000. Okay. And that's it, you know, and the split with the shop is like, you're getting 40 and the shop's getting 60. Then in year two, it'll move to, you're going to be earning, no split, excuse me. You're going to be earning 120, maybe even with a bonus system set up with it. And I know I sound very like fucking corporate and Wall Streety, but
There's tattooers going,
yeah,
This is where the majority of the comments are going to start coming.
but
in.
we're gonna guarantee you that income. We're gonna get you your appointments. We're gonna have your station set up for you in the morning. We're gonna break it down for you. Will it become the norm? No, but it's going to happen.
But then the burden comes off of the artist, like in downtime. Like what happens when you're not getting appointments? You're going to blame the shop, and then it's going to cause animosity.
They're already blaming.
they
the
already
shop.
blame shops.
Well, here's the thing. If you're a business owner and you're prepared to set that up, you're going to make sure that your model actually works, and it works by trying it. Of course, there's going to be hurdles and failures along the way, but it's going to happen. Look, we started the conversation like we talked about the industry at the moment and where it is, and sort of like how do we, if you had something to say to a tattoo artist, like we're here right now. There's a bit of a paradigm shift going on here, because we would have said for 50 or 60 years that the tattoo business is recession proof. We would have said that even 2008, 2009,
Yeah, for sure.
when the fucking world fell apart, it was alcohol, tobacco, tattoos.
I've had so many people
heroin.
come into the shop hurting, like, oh man, I can't pay my rent. My car just broke down. I can't afford to fix it, but ink me up.
Yeah, I need that tat, dude. I need
So-
to feel some.
In the last 15 months, that's not happening.
No,
So that means that,
something's different.
yes. And that's where you go back to like engagement and knowing your brand and understanding that you're a business. I run businesses, but the tattoo artist is its own. You're
It's his own little
business.
ecosystem
Yes.
within one big one.
That's
and that's the best way to look at
Yeah.
it. You know?
Yeah.
And I think that when in a shop, it's like everybody's a little piece of that.
Of
you know?
course.
And everybody has to do
When you said
that
ecosystem,
groundwork. Yeah,
you
it's an
have to.
ecosystem. You have to take care of it, you know?
Tattoo Armour is literally the best way to wrap your client. I've been using it, Matt's been using it, and it's just awesome. There's no mess, there's no glue, and it's just super comfortable. I hope you can try it for yourself, and just go on to Tattoo Armour and use the code HONESTTATTOOER for 20% off your order.
Now it's a perfect time to do a little quick 10 questions with you guys.
Oh, wrong one. I'll take it.
I like that.
That was good.
That was funky.
They
He was
both-
slapping the bass.
They both have similar names.
He was
Nice.
slapping the bass.
A little
right
bit of
there.
parliament there.
All right. Best tattoo convention you've been to?
I'll say Gods of Ink. It was opened my eyes to what I'd never seen before.
Where is that?
Frankfurt, Germany. Yeah.
That's also by Mickey Villetto.
Yes,
Yeah.
London Tattoo Convention, Tobacco Dock, 2005 to 2019.
Best tattoo convention.
Experiential beyond belief.
So Mickey Villetto put some of the best tattoo conventions.
Shout
in the
out,
world.
Mickey
Shout out to Mickey Villetto.
Hey.
Woo.
Okay. Private studio or street shop?
So I own what you would say is a private studio, because there's no walk-ins in that. There are days where I miss the walk-ins, and then there are days where I'm like, thank God.
Thank God there's no walk-ins.
You're on a second level?
Third level.
Third level.
Third level.
Yeah. I would say private studio, but, today's day and age is a little weird with, the street shop. And I don't it depends where you're located for sure.
Favorite city to visit?
I love going to New Orleans.
Oh, I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
New Orleans.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go international here. I've been to Sydney 3 times. I fucking love Sydney. I would have said to you 6-7 years ago, custom, and then I've started getting some people. Well, I don't. They're not flash, but I've started, getting some of Chris Crooks, Mike Rubendahl.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I have a piece coming up after Christmas that's sort of smaller as well. I love fucking flash.
Dude, I keep feeling more and more like, and Flash
bigger.
is getting bigger, and it's moving in that direction. Like,
people are walking and asking for it.
No Idols is a street shop, and more people walk in and they're like, I want to look at your books. And I'm like, bro, books? What is that? Yes. But
Like,
people are like,
Instagram is the
your
modern
books.
book,
But it's not. People don't want that shit. They have their phones in their pocket and they're like, I want to see your books, bro. I want to see what you got here.
Yeah, you got any designs available?
You got any designs?
Like,
Every
shoot.
day, people come in and they want to see stuff. So I feel like it's going more and more in that direction. And I'm looking to implement more Flash into the studio.
Well, you look at these younger generations with their patch sleeve.
Yeah.
You know what? People love Flash days, the Friday the 13th days, things like that. They love
that
it.
shit. They want to get a quick little banger. They don't want to have like long commitment, which kind of goes along with like I want to watch a 7-second, 10-second reel on TikTok.
Totally.
Or when you're sitting on, they're like, I don't want to watch a movie, but I'll watch a whole season of like 30-second episodes for the next 7 hours, dude.
Yeah.
It's like there's.
I won't watch anything unless I binge it.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally.
So you know how
More
things
like
are
that.
cyclical, and tattoo shops used to be full of Flash on the walls with the books and everything. And then over the years, as custom work has become more prevalent, the Flash came off the walls. Everything was custom drawn.
The ferns replaced them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if we're going to go back, if more shops are going to start putting more Flash up on the walls, and it's going to be more of that Flash shop.
Look,
Yeah,
the
I'm
street
all for
shops
it.
are never going away.
No, I don't
They
think
are.
so.
They're
Here to
80% of our industry.
Yeah. What's one piece of advice that you would give to someone starting out in the tattoo industry that is not a tattoo artist?
That wants to be or not
No.
doesn't want to be.
Wants to
They
be a business
want to be
person.
in the industry,
In
but
the
they're
industry.
not tattooers. They ain't got an artist bone in their body.
Well, that's like me.
That's why I'm asking you guys.
I had
both of us.
no artistry skills. I've tried drawing, I've tried everything, and it's just not me. You got to try things. You have to find your niche. They have to put themselves out there.
Be fearless. You will fail. It is part of the process. I've had lots of failures. I've had successes. I have successes now. Learned nothing from them. The failures, they're supposed to
They'll teach
hurt.
you a lot.
Yeah, they
They're
define you.
supposed to fucking hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And take lumps and gash you. But it will lead to your next success. Be fearless.
Yeah.
Cool.
Be fearless. That's a good way to end the fucking podcast. Be fearless.
I'd say so.
Yeah. Last questions. Trump or Kamala?
Coil. Listen. You know what I'm gonna say to that? You know what I'm gonna say to that? You know what I'm gonna say to that? You know what I'm gonna say to that?
That was a trick question. You don't have to answer that at all.
No,
but I thought that it was hilarious.
You can bait me. with that all you want.
What happened to
Make
Kennedy?
coil machines cool again.
Make Kobe cool again. Oh man. The only things, guys, we don't talk
wanna
politics
make
on the
stickers of that.
podcast.
No, I agree.
Coil machines cool
Make
again?
Yeah, can I do that?
make
Yeah,
Kobe
make
machines
coil-
cool again.
Not great again, cool again.
Cool again.
Yeah.
Are.
People are gonna be like, Gabe, what the fuck, man? Like they were always cool. I'd be like, yeah, but we gotta convince the rest of the freaking
Oh man, I'm gonna steal this quote from Dave Ramsey, who's a great dude. If you want to learn anything about financial advice and about how to handle your money, and is worry more about what's going on in your house and less about what's going on in the White House, guys. Focus on yourselves. Keep trying to improve yourself every day. And we'll see you next week. Thanks so much for joining the show.
Thank you.
you guys so much for coming in.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
It's been awesome.
And we'll see you next time, guys.
Bye.
Peace.
Thanks.